I'm always fascinated, Winona, for an actor, what your initial interest in a project is. So, what was it about the dilemma that sparked the interest for you?
Well, I think first of all, I heard Ron Howard had a project that there was, possible role in there for me, and so that was. I'm just being honest. That was the initial thing. Was like, oh my God, I would love to work with Ron Howard. Um, he's made such brilliant movies and such a wide range of different genres and everything. And he also is an incredibly kind, sweet, wonderful man. And I remember when I was a lot younger, I was actually still in high school, and I met him like in Northern California. He must have been in San Francisco or something, but he drove to meet me at a Denny's, and we talked about he was doing a movie, and I was too young for it, but like that I wasn't anybody, um, I hadn't been working a long time, but I'll never forget that, that he was so kind and had this lunch with me, and I, just come from my classes, and when I saw him again, I was wondering if he would remember, and he did, which was very, very sweet. And but just that he's just such a great guy. And then I got the script, and I was really just kind of blown away by it because it was so funny. It was like, I was laughing out loud, and at the same time, there was so much heart in it, and it was, it was kind of hard. There were elements of it that were heartbreaking, I think, for my character.
Where do you start with a character like Geneva? I mean, do you base her on somebody? Is there a particular wardrobe, a walk?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. For me, it starts with the shoes, honestly, like, and the look. Certain women wear, like women who, like, I wanted to wear heels. It makes me feel a little bit, she just struck me as someone who would wear heels and was more, a woman. And it's not really in the movie, but her, she works in real estate, but the market's kind of not doing. So she's dresses, she gets dressed, and I think she was sort of, I thought a lot about, where she came from, where, how they met in college, and how she was probably, real flirt, and, these kind of things. But I remember not being able to really get her until I put on some high heels, even in the hotel room when I was thinking about it. And then also just, I actually see her, some people have asked me, I think before they saw the movie, oh, are you the villain? Do you play the villain? Because I'm the one, that is
Caught the ball rolling.
Yeah. And I don't actually. I think what's great about the movie is it is very, very layered in the sense that it's not black or white. It's very human. She's someone whose marriage is in fact, now you can cut out anything that
But let me make it easier for you. Let's just break it down in the sense of when we first meet this character.
Okay, because in terms of giving stuff away, like you can.
No.
Okay.
But let's say when we first meet her, that she's not empathetic. That we as an audience, we take a side against her, and then as the information starts coming out, we start realizing, wait a minute, there are two sides to a story.
Yeah, it's hard for me because I have like her whole thing, but I know it is told from Vince's perspective, so you do see just the more manipulative, cunning side to her, and a sort of a vicious side, like that threat that she make, she's fighting for her, she's fighting to get her way in this, but I have a lot of also sympathy for her because, she is in a marriage that where she's not getting her needs met. She's not getting the affection and the in contact with her husband because he's working so hard and he's obsessed with his work, and then he's also doing other things, and so she's very lonely. And so I think lonely, they act out in all different ways. Some people drink or binge eat or lay in bed and, never get out. But, the way she's acting out is she's having an affair. And just to feel like she's still a woman, that she's still desirable. I think she needs that. She's at a place in her life where, I think, I don't know, I've never been married, but when relationships are falling apart, and for a woman who's married to have that be shaky and is scary, and she makes a lot of mistakes, and she doesn't, the choices she makes are not the choices I would make. But I understand. I have a lot of sympathy for her, and I think she is not a bad person. She just makes some bad choices, and But I think at the end, in a way, you understand why, and I think there's, a little bit of understand. I wouldn't say redemption, but understanding. I hope.
Let's break down one of the confrontations that you have with Vince. Years ago, audiences will probably remember a great diner sequence from When Harry Met Sally, when we see Meg Ryan prove to this guy of what a woman can do. I can fake. And your character has an interesting spin on this, where she can put the audience and show a man how quick a woman can manipulate and make a man believe when she starts to cry.
Yeah.
How interesting was a sequence to that for you?
Or even going back to Adam's rib, where, he's like, oh, here comes the juice. Well, we can do it too. Guys can do it too. It's interesting. But what
but it's going to open, for men, women probably know the power of manipulation of what they can control. For men in the audience, this is going to be an interesting eye-opener that, wow.
Yeah, I think so. I think though, men, I know men can do it, because men have done it to me. The waterworks can come, and suddenly you're taking care of them after they've just devastated you with something. That's happened to practically every girl I know. And I think that comes from this being, just the situation being sort of desperate. But that to me was a great scene, and a very challenging scene, and an important scene, very challenging in the sense that I had to time it so I could be talking to him and like, no, you don't, because this is what I'm going to do. And timing, it's hard to time your tears, believe me. But it was challenging, and it was a lot of fun, and it was really, I could not have done it without looking at Vince and having Ron there, because I just felt like they had my back. And it was a scene that I was, you always have a couple scenes in a movie that get real nervous about. Okay, it's 3 weeks away that we're going to shoot it. You do. There's there's a lot of, when the scene is coming up the day before, and you get real. I was nervous, and then that I remember that night. I remember every little moment of that night, and I remember all the encouragement I got from Vince, and we did a lot of improvising, but I just felt they were so there and present for me, and it's a great scene in the movie. I also channeled a lot of Barbara Stanwyck and Betty Davis in that scene. I was doing a lot of double indemnity sort of stuff. So I used sort of the film noir old movies, like I wanted it to be, like High Noon, Heat, or something.
Great showdown. As one who's been following your career for a long time, when I was first introduced to Winona Ryder, Beetlejuice, Heathers, there was these great comedic moments. Then there was the serious phase that we kind of followed through. How exhilarating was it for you as an actor to kind of let the comedy come back out?
Oh, it was so great. It was so great because it was smart, and it was, with comedy, and I am no expert, but I always find it's fun, for me, it's funnier the straighter you play it, sort of, if you try for laughs, then, it doesn't work as much sometimes for me. And that's why Vince is such a genius and Kevin is so talented. Like, it's just things coming out of, these gems coming out of them. And for me, though, it's sort of about, letting those sink in, reacting to those, and trying to, not overthinking it, trying to just be present, and trying to have the confidence that I really credit them and Ron with instilling in me the confidence to have a repartee, to have a comeback, for that. And I would never have been able to do that if it wasn't working with these guys. These guys really brought that out in me, and I feel like I've grown a lot as an actress because of it. And I have sort of these new muscles that I can use now that I never knew I had, because I just, I didn't have the opportunity to do, I did Reality Bites, but that was a very different kind of, movie comedy. Like, I don't, I'm trying to think of like funny movies that so I feel like they gave me the gift of like comedic muscles that I now have, that I'm very humbled by their generosity in that way.
One of the moments in the movie which is definitely going to cause a lot of the audience to kind of be at least comedically engaged is when the two of them start dancing in that club. And as a eyewitness to the event right there, how spontaneous was it? I mean, it just looked like these two guys had lost it.
Yeah, I mean, that was really fun. Kevin and I had worked. I have a sip of water because I'm getting cotton mouth. Sorry. It was really fun because Kevin and I had actually been rehearsing like a little dance that we were going to sort of make it seem like, oh, this is our song. And so we had choreographed a dance, and of course it looks very easy, but it was actually like, every day we had a teacher and everything like that. And then, you don't see the whole dance in the movie, but, you see us, and then, and then Kevin comes in and they go at it. And I don't know how much if they rehearsed that, but I think they were just playing off each other, and it was hilarious, truly so funny. Great setup too for the story, the hero couple and their friendship. You see how bonded and close they are, and goofy they can be together, and
Just a last quick question, because we're cutting this off. Dennis, what do you hope this movie will facilitate in discussions? Because, I mean, some are just pure entertainment, but this movie definitely has a premise that's going to engage people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great, dinner party, or, one of those things that, what would you do if, and that's how the seed of it grew, was from Brian Grazer, the producer, at dinner one night, and saying, what would you do if and then I guess Vince heard about that, so that's a great idea for a movie, because so many people have opposing views. Like, oh, I would definitely tell. No, I don't know if I would tell. I mean, how Vince. What would I do? I've luckily never been in that situation, and I don't think until it happens. And I think one of the messages, if it's not a message movie, it's a great comedy, but is you never know what's really going on behind the curtains of a marriage, which is a line from the movie, but is also, I think, probably very, very true.
Well, Winona, thank you so much. It's a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to see